Meeting is now streaming.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with the Martial Arts Experience. We're here on Monday, November 30th, and I'm excited to be here with Hollywood movie director and legend, Mr. Sam Firstenberg. Sam, how are you doing this evening, sir?
Excellent. I'm happy to be with you in the Martial Arts Experience.
We're happy to have you. Now, I got to tell you, Sam, you're the first director we have. You're the first Hollywood director that we have. So, this is very nostalgic for us.
Yeah, terrific. Yeah, I know you mainly you deal with martial art and martial artists, not in the movie side of it. But hey, I'm happy to be
Well, now we're in the movie side.
We can talk about it a little bit.
That's right. That's right. So for our viewers, again, this is the first amazing opportunity that we've ever had to have, behind the camera, what happens behind the camera. And I think as a movie director, you were the perfect fit to have as the first one with your vast experience. A lot, if you're a martial arts enthusiast, you've heard of Canon Films and the heyday of the Canon Films. And, what I like to do is let's just start right away, Sam. Give us the background. How did you get involved in the movie industry?
So just to set the record straight, I don't come from a martial art background at all. Movies. And I always wanted to be in movies, and I went to film school here in Los Angeles. I'm talking to you from Los Angeles. So from Hollywood. So I went to film school here in Hollywood, in Los Angeles. And as I was going to school, I got involved in various production, various movies. One of the people I met here in Hollywood are Menachem Golan, that later on became the head of Canon Film. And I started to work with him, and I worked my way up in this industry from just doing, being just a schlepper, doing nothing. Go for this, go for that. I was an assistant here, assistant there. I became assistant director. And eventually, at some point, I also went to graduate school, film school. I stopped. I was assistant director for many years, and also for Menachem Golan. And then eventually, I directed my own movies. And this occurred more or less at the same time. It was 1979, 1980 that Menachem Golan and Yoram Globus, they bought the company Canon. Canon was actually a New York-based company in New York.
Okay.
And they moved it here to Los Angeles. And I was in the midst of producing my own movie. It was called One More Chance with Johnny LaMatta and Kirstie Alley. And they got involved. And from this point on, I became a director, I would say, an in-house director for this company, Canon Film. So we started more or less together. They got the company, they started with the company, and I started to direct for them. So that's how I got.
Wow. Now let's go into the Canon Films has a really rich history, and obviously you being one of their greatest directors, I would say, because you've been involved with some of the iconic, cult films per se of that group. So when I went to pull your IMDb from the database to see all the different films that stood out is obviously all the films that involved around the ninja craze, the 80s ninja craze. So the first film that was listed was Revenge of the Ninja. Is that the first ninja film that you worked on?
Correct. You're absolutely correct. The company, this Canon company, in the beginning was a very, very small company, was a tiny company. And they actually started to produce horror picture. They saw themselves at that time in the 80s, cheap, low budget horror pictures were very popular. So they started with the horror pictures. But they actually had more of a knowledge and understanding in action rather than they were not very successful with the horror pictures. Okay. But then the head of the company, Menachem Golan, he was actually the more of the creative head of the company, and he was very receptive always. I knew him for many years, and he was always receptive to ideas, to new ideas. And then one day walk in Mike Stone. You were talking with Mike Stone, I believe, next week or so.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So Mike Stone came into and met with Golan, and he offered to him or suggested to him a new idea, and a new idea for the West, and it was a ninja. The ninja idea. Ninjas were already in Japan, in television, in Japanese television, in Japanese movies. The ninjas were character, and it was happening, but not in the Hong Kong movies. Very little ninjas appeared and mentioned in the Hong Kong martial art movies.
Right.
So, so he introduced to him this new idea. Let's make a movie about ninja, and the name, I don't know if they had a script or they had an idea. The name of this movie was Enter the Ninja, like Enter the Dragon.
Right.
Taking after Enter the Dragon. So Enter the Ninja, and Menahem Golan bought into this idea. He got excited by this idea. And Mike Stone and Menachem Golan, they went to the Philippines and they made the movie. The star of the movie was Franco Nero.
Right.
And Mike Stone was involved in making the movie. And the villain, the bad guy, was Shokasugi. I believe Mike Stone brought in Shokasugi as the villain in the movie.
Right.
And they made this movie. I was not involved in this movie.
Okay.
And the movie was kind of successful, had a moderate success. Once they finished editing it and distributing it, in a certain way, it had a moderate success. And what happens in Hollywood when you have a movie that makes a little bit money, you make a sequel immediately.
Right.
By that time, I finished the movie that I mentioned before, One More Chance. It was completed. We went to some festivals, a small movie. And it was not an action movie, like a social drama, social redemption type of a movie. Okay. Social drama. And that's what I thought. I saw myself as a director who eventually will make this kind of movies, social awareness movies.
Okay.
Social content.
Okay.
But anyway, so they decided to make a sequel, and Menachem Golan directed Enter the Ninja. But by that time already, the company was kind of growing Canon Film, and he was probably very busy in running and developing the company. He didn't want to take time again and direct another ninja movie for whatever his reasons. Right. And I just finished this other movie, so he just turned to me. He knew me for many years, I must admit, as his assistant director. And here they saw that I can put together a movie, I can tell a story in a movie. So I just say we bumped in the corridor. I'm kidding. That kind of a bump on the corridor, and he turned to me and said, "Can you direct for us this Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja?" And they already had the name. They already had the title, Revenge of the Ninja. And they have decided to take Shokasugi, which was the villain in the first movie, and to make him the hero in this movie. Wow. So this was all decided before I even got involved. So they had a title, kind of a basic script, and Shokasugi. So they turned to me, he turned to me and said, "Can you direct this? Would you direct this for us?" Wow, boy, what an opportunity to direct a big movie. Right. Because the first movie was small. To direct a big movie, and I saw Enter the Ninja. Of course, everybody that was involved in Canon, we already saw Enter the Ninja. So I knew more or less what he's talking about. And then he turns to me, but he said, "One problem, there is one problem. Can you direct action?" What am I going to say? I'm a young director. I'm an aspiring director, ambitious. I said, "Of course I can direct action. Don't worry. I will take care of it." Anyway, I was entrusted, and that's how I became the director of this the sequel, Revenge of the Ninja. I met Shokasugi, etc. So probably you have a question about what happened after I was entrusted with this task to direct this Revenge of the Ninja.
So Revenge of the Ninja was very well received, correct? Did that actually do better than the first one?
So I will explain you a little bit. We can talk a little bit how I got to this martial art. Because this whole idea of Revenge of the Ninja was kind of a intersection between me. I was not involved in martial art at all, and I was not even familiar with the Hong Kong kung fu movies. Not at all.
Wow.
I was familiar very much with the samurai movies, the Japanese samurai movies, Akira Kurosawa, Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, this type of movies. Samurai. I love samurai movies. So it was kind of a meeting, you know.
Right.
We intersected both ways, my film career and martial art. And then I met all those people,
Right.
Shokasugi, and he introduced me to other people. And we made the movie. We made the movie in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we came back. Now, let me explain a little bit. Canon was a young company. And making a movie is one thing, but distributing a movie is another big field. And distributing movies, especially in North America, what we call North America, US and Canada,
Right.
it's called domestic. This is very difficult. This is the world of the studios, of the major studios, you know, Universal, Columbia, Paramount. They know how to distribute movies. They have the mechanism. And every company, production company, which is not one of those major, they are called the major studios, every company really, they're striving that one of those major company will distribute a movie that they produced. So any company, even you remember there was Corelco that did the First Blood, etc.
Right.
So Canon was a young company, and they were, you know, courting, pursuing the company. Please take this movie, distribute it. But the major company are very selective. They don't take every movie and distribute it. They are, you know, they have a certain quality that they are looking for. They don't distribute very cheap looking movies, very small movies. And so Canon was not successful. Before Revenge of the Ninja, they made like 8 movies, 10 movies. Horror, as I mentioned, horror movies and Enter the Ninja. And they were not successful to convince any of the major companies to distribute, to pick up. It's called picking up. Pick up a movie for distribution. When Revenge of the Ninja was finished, ready with the music and everything, a finished product, they showed it again, the same thing. They had a good relationship with MGM at the time.
Okay.
We used the lab, the laboratories of MGM. We mixed, the sound mixing was done in MGM studio. And they, of course, presented to MGM as one of their movies. And MGM got excited. This was the first movie out of Canon that MGM say, or any other major company, in this case, MGM say, yeah, we will like this movie. We are going to distribute this movie.
Wow.
So now we were in a different league. Now it's an MGM movie. It's not a Canon movie anymore. You know, it's a Canon produced movie, but it's an MGM movie distribution. And MGM took it very seriously. They produced this beautiful poster. People, some of you guys are familiar with this beautiful poster with the red sky and Shokasugi flying in the air.
Right.
The ninja. It's a classic. So they produced it, MGM, and they had this meeting about. They used to invite me to the meeting. I don't understand anything about marketing movies or distributing movies. Not my field.
Just directing.
But nice, it was nice to sit on those meetings and to understand. I didn't understand much about distribution. How you target market. There is something which is called, you know, it's a different marketing for the West, for the East, for this neighborhood, for that neighborhood, for this city. They have radio advertising, television. It was very interesting. And yes, considering that this is a low budget movie, independent movie, it was quite a success. They opened it in about 600 theaters, 700 theater in what they call MGM called, they used to call it flip-flop. They open it only on half of the country, east of the Mississippi, between New York and the Mississippi River. And then once the run is over, they take this and the same 600 print or whatever, they move it to the west from the Mississippi to California. So 600 theaters in half a country is pretty good. Right. And actually in New York City, for the first week of its distribution, it was #1 in the box office. Revenge of the Ninja in New York City was #1 in the box office for 1 week or for 2 weeks. So it's quite a success for independent movie. It's not a major movie, you know, it's not a James Bond. It's not this type of success, but pretty good success for Canon, and became much more familiar. Also, remember, there is a reason here. Franco Nero, that starred in the first movie, he's not part of this martial art cult.
Right. He was known for more. He was known for more dramatic films, correct?
Sure, and Italian action. But Shokasugi was right on. You know, he was the real thing. He was the enthusiasts, the martial art enthusiasts, and the young kids and the boys, they loved it. They loved it immediately. And also the performance of Sho Kosugi, the way
Sam,
he
it was
did everything.
Sam, it was crazy because during the 80s, when you grew up at that time, it didn't matter what age, everybody recognized the poster of Sho Kosugi. You would go to the local store and you wanted that ninja poster of him. If you were a martial artist, you wanted that. If you weren't a martial artist, the ninja was almost like a real life. That the idea of it, I think, as a young boy growing up, it was like a superhero. It was like a real life. He was a real life superhero to us all, climbing walls with the claws and everything else.
You're absolutely right. When I was a kid, Tarzan was our hero. So, we watched Tarzan movies, and for us, Tarzan climbing on the tree, kind of a similar idea, not martial art. And for you kids, by then I was already 30 years old. I was 29 when the movie came out. But for you kids, between 6 and 16, 18, and also many men, boys at heart, they suddenly saw the Western world, the world in the West, suddenly discovered this ninja. It was not part of the movie language. Nobody saw ninjas climbing, as you say, all this exciting stuff. So it was the new Tarzan. It was James Bond on steroids.
Right.
And it became a character, a cinematic character. And you're right. So, and I saw it. I was getting feedback. I spoke with young kids. I spoke with other people. Suddenly, everybody was talking. It was not a movie for women or for girls so much. It was mainly for boys and adults and men. That's the market that it is.
But Sam, the crazy thing to think about is the impact, like I said, of the essence of the ninja. What you guys were able to develop and put on film that, really, I don't know if it ignited or it just further fueled the flame of it. But think of where we are now in 2020, and they're still selling ninja costumes at Halloween, and people still want to be a ninja, and it's just an amazing concept that wow, it just took off. So let me ask you, after the first film, and I don't want to leave the first film yet, but as that buzz started coming, you were known as the ninja director, like the great ninja director, or how did that work?
In a way, listen, of course, what we didn't mention here, and you can ask me about it, Sho Kosugi educated me in this field. I didn't know ninja from nothing, I didn't know nothing. So it was Sho Kosugi who introduced me or took me and step by step and explained it to me and educated me about this ninja. But you absolutely right. There were some, a ninja would appear in a movie here and there. Later on, it was you saw ninjas in James Bond, and you saw, and of course the Ninja Turtles, which was the height of the ninja craze.
Ninja craze, yeah.
But yeah, in a way, so people don't really know. Many people don't really know what is the part of the director in making a movie, or what is the part. So yeah, I became for some time the ninja director, the director who is expert in ninja.
Right.
Kind of, but it's really an action movie. It doesn't matter if it's a ninja or another type of martial art movie.
Now, Sam,
the real expert was Sho Kosugi.
Okay. Sam, we have one of our faithful viewers that chimed in. His name is Glenn Deering. Sam, can you say hello to Glenn Deering, please?
Hi, Glenn. What is your question, Glenn?
Glenn basically just put that ninjas were his favorite warriors as a kid. So you helped his childhood.
Listen, Glenn and everybody, I get a lot of emails, especially the movie American Ninja became so popular. So I'm getting a lot of mail, emails, comments, etc. And a lot of them, they have a similar kind of a theme that many of the people which are now 30, 35, 40, 45, whatever, they saw it in adolescence or childhood, 8 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old. And it really influenced them because it was this ninja was a new type of a hero, a little bit violent. It was a bit violent for kids, but kids like it. But the violence would never... such excessive was not tremendously brutal. It was never brutal violent. So it kind of violent that kids could digest.
Right.
And I get it a lot that this was the hero of many, many kids. And also I get a lot of letters which are telling me, a lot of men which are telling me that those movies turned them into martial art discipline.
Yes.
They would not get into martial art discipline unless they saw the movie. Because they saw the movie and they wanted to imitate it, they went to the local dojo, they got enlisted as kids, and some of them of course dropped, but some of them stayed with the discipline. And here and there I even get a letter that the fact that I saw the movie and I went into the dojo saved my life, because I would have end up in drugs, and rather than that I ended up with this wonderful discipline of martial arts.
Wow. Now tell the viewers, so as a director, to get the job done, you also have your budget that you're working with. So give everyone, and again, I don't know if you remember the budget or rough guesstimate, what budget were you working with in 1983? What budget were you working with?
So talking in general, action movies are more expensive than other movies to make, comparatively. You can make a horror picture, get some castle on the hill and the crew is there, and in 4 weeks, and even slashers are comparatively cheap. Action is expensive because there is a lot of mechanics and there is a lot of stunt people involved and time consuming just to execute the action and put it on film. So at the time when we made as you say, 83, we made the Revenge of the Ninja. 82, I think we spent then at the time between $1.5 and $2 million.
Wow.
It took actually 9 weeks of shooting, 6 days, 9 weeks, and that's pretty good for low budget movies, for independent low budget movies. It's pretty good budget and pretty good. You can compare it today. I would say if you jump those 35 years, it's equivalent to $25 to $35 million, the budget in today's terms. And so it was not luxurious. It was not like making a major studio movie, not at all, but it was comfortable. We were not at the budget of the James Bonds, but it was comfortable. We got our 9 weeks of shooting. We were not limited in any number of cars, explosions. If we needed the helicopters, all kind of mechanical stuff, stunt people, everything cost money, everything.
Right.
In addition to just making a regular movie without an action.
Wow.
So it was pretty good. We cannot complain, and we executed. We had a rule, and this is important to understand. In my mind, this is my internal rule, a rule that I made to myself. If I am making an action movie, 45 minutes is going to be action, pure action. The rest of and those movies are 90 minutes. We never made a movie more only one, and Avenging Force, which was a little bit more than 95. But we had a rule, 95 minutes movie. And we always dedicated 45 minutes to action. So the story was really lean. It was another 45 minutes to tell the story.
Right.
So budget was comfortable, and it's on the screen. People can see it. In Revenge of the Ninja, there is tons of action happening non-stop on the screen.
Right. Now, Sam, so 1.5 million budget. Do you remember what it grossed?
No, I don't. And we have to distinguish when a movie distributing a movie in North America, which I mentioned before, domestic, is completely different from distributing a movie in the rest of the world.
Right.
North America, usually a movie open in theaters, and the way it works, usually when a movie in theater, the theater takes immediately 50% of the ticket price for themselves to operate the theater. Then there is the distribution company. From the other 50% that is left over, they take like 40% to cover the distribution fee. So the production company really gets like 10% out of the profit, the people who made the movie. But then they sell it internationally. So this is the trick. This is the gimmick. If you're able to open a movie nicely in theater in America, and it gets already, and this gives the movie the prestige the presence that everybody knows. Whoa, this movie played in the theaters for 4 weeks and made so much money. So when you hear box office 5 million, 20 million, it doesn't mean much for profit. I believe that this movie in America, I don't know the exact number, but it was around, probably up to like $10 million.
Yeah, that's what I thought I had
Box
saw.
office. Yeah,
that's what I thought. And we'll talk
but then
about
they sold it around the world, so they made a nice profit on this movie.
Right. Sam, real fast, we have two people that chimed in. If we could say hello to Kathleen. Kathleen is an avid watcher, and Kathleen actually owns a company called Hopeful Handbags. She works with women from domestic violence that they're getting back on their feet. So if you could just say a quick hello to Kathleen for me.
Hey, Kathleen, nice of you to join us. Fantastic. I love when ladies are joining the martial art and action movies. Enthusiasts.
Yes. Kathleen is a huge supporter. And also we have Matthew Barnett, and Matthew actually has his own group, which is the Martial Arts and Action Movie. It's on Facebook. So if we can give a quick hello to Matthew, please.
Hey, Matt. Hello, Matt, and your martial art movies website. And if we'll be connected, martial art movie website. Terrific. Very nice.
So the success of Revenge of the Ninja, things are moving hot. Everything's going well. Now we move to the next production. Tell us about Ninja 3, The Domination.
So, as I said, this was a considerable, for Canon, it was the big one, the first big success, and the movie made money and, a lot of impression in general. And of course, they wanted to make a sequel immediately. The company, nothing to do with me.
It did have to do with you, Sam. You were the director.
Yeah, but I will explain one thing. In Hollywood, in the traditional Hollywood, unlike when you say movie director in European cinema, it's completely different meaning that movie director in Hollywood. Movie director in Hollywood is a higher worker. The director comes, works, get his salary, goodbye. We are not part of the profit. We are not part of the company. Rarely there are some special director. There is, of course, Tarantino, which is a different type of movie making and different involvement. So for us, we are hired. I'm a hired director to make the movie. So anyway, so they turned to me and they wanted to make a sequel. They said, let's make a sequel. We want to make number 3, Ninja number 3. Okay. Now the head of the company, Menachem Golan, he was also the creative head of the company, and he turned to me and I said, listen, we are going to make another one. At this time, Sho Kosugi is not going to be the hero, the protagonist of the movie. I was kind of surprised after such a success that Sho Kosugi kind of really carried the movie on his shoulder, the Revenge of the Ninja. And they wanted to do something different this time. And it was his suggestion, Menachem Golan, he turns to me and said, why don't we make it with a woman, with an actress, with a heroine, instead of a hero? For me, I was actually excited about this idea. Okay, let's try something different. It's nice for a director to try different things, not to do exactly the same thing again and again. So straight sequel will be exactly the same thing. Oh, so I was happy, something different. And they hired the same writer. We hired the same writer, Jim Silk, to write it. Now, as I mentioned in Revenge of the Ninja, I was involved in the writing, but not in the beginning. The basic ideas were already there when I was hired. In this case, Ninja 3, the word domination was not associated yet with the script. It was just Ninja 3. I was with the writer from the base level, from the beginning.
Okay.
And Sho Kosugi naturally did not like the idea that suddenly he's not the hero, he's not his movie, it's not his product, especially after the success. It was quite successful. And he was not very happy. And then on top of it, when he heard that it will be a woman and Ninja will be a woman, he really didn't like the idea. So he said, no, a woman cannot be a ninja. No, a woman doesn't have enough power, skills, etc. Now, the truth is that I learned through Sho Kosugi. Sho Kosugi showed me all the Hong Kong movies. I didn't know much about the Hong Kong movies. and some Japanese movies. And actually, there were ninjas, women in those movies. There were usually like clans, group of ninja women, which they appear here and there in Japanese movies, and they're part of the mythology of the ninjas in Japan. They were like, sometimes they needed and they were, vicious women, vicious group. but it's not the majority. Of course, the mainstream is men, ninjas, and he was not happy with this. He didn't want to participate, and we didn't know how to solve the problem. So I was talking a lot with Jim Silk. The writer was Jim Silk, and say, okay, we have an idea. The idea will be that she is not really a ninja. She is possessed by a spirit of a ninja, a dead ninja, and whatever she does, she's kind of the messenger of the dead ninja, the spirit. And this appeased Shokasugi. He liked the idea, and Shokasugi was the character. He was still involved in the movie, and he was the character who will come into the story to resolve the problem, to save the day. Okay. So all in all, it worked, and it was nice for him. And that's it. We got on our way. And I worked with the writer. We wrote a script, Ninja 3: The Domination, a wacky, crazy script.
Yeah.
And we found the actress, Lucinda Dickey, and we started with this movie.
Rest was history. So let me ask you, out of the three, Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, and Ninja 3, do you have a personal favorite?
Oh, Revenge of the Ninja is a much better. It's like out of these three is the best movie in my opinion. There are many people who like Ninja 3: The Domination because it is so strange and it became a cult. Since then, it became a cult movie. Really like a lot of screening, midnight screening, crazy stuff. But Revenge of the Ninja has this the mixture. What I like about it, it's a hybrid. It's a mixture of. I'm mentioning a lot of James Bond, but it's a mixture between James Bond and martial art. Boom, that together. Straight action, which I wanted to do. I didn't want to do a Hong Kong movie from the beginning. When I was introduced to the Hong Kong movies, which are really concentrating in martial art only, I didn't want to do this kind of a movie because my feeling it would be that it will be hard for a Western audience to digest this kind of a movie.
Right.
And if you are not a real martial art participant, if you don't practice and participate, and if you want to find much wider audience, to appeal to wider audience, we have to mix martial art and action. And Shokasugi, the nice thing about Shokasugi, he was thinking exactly like me. So we had the same wavelength. We were thinking, also Shokasugi wanted a movie that will break through into the world of action audience, not necessarily martial art action audience. And that's what I like about it. It's a nice mix between general action, so to speak, what I call general action and martial art action mixed together. Sometimes those are separate. Some scenes, some segments are completely separate. Sometimes it's mixed together, martial art and action. And that's what I like about it. And in general, also the performance of Shokasugi and his student. And we had another martial artist, our stunt coordinator, Steve Lambert. Steve Lambert, he was our stunt coordinator, and he's a martial artist. So we had a lot of martial artists on the set and performed beautifully the different segments of the fights that had to be done.
Show was phenomenal on screen. I mean, again, if you're a kid growing up and you don't know who Sho Kasagi is, I mean, you've been under a rock the whole time. I mean, he was unbelievable. Like I said, a real life superhero. So now we move on. You finish Ninja 3, okay? You just started or lit the fire to the ninja craze of the 80s. Then all of a sudden, you switch gears, and now we come with Breaking 2, the Electric Boogaloo. Where did that come from? How did you go? Because obviously I know there was a Breaking 1, so give us the story.
So first of all, we found Lucinda Dickey for Ninja 3: The Domination.
Okay.
The movies came on a different order. Breakdance came before Ninja 3, but it was produced the other way. It was soon the other way. So we found Lucinda Dickey to be the hero, and then the company liked it. And kind of parallel, when we just finished the shooting and we were in editing, there is something which is called post-production, editing, music, colors, etc. And that period usually takes double the time of shooting the movie, filming the movie.
Right.
So let's say a movie that filmed 8 weeks, 9 weeks, at least 16 or 20 weeks of post-production. So meantime, they like Lucinda very much in the company, and they were casting. They had this idea of Breakin'. They made the movie Breakin' with Shabadoo and Shrimp. And they made a movie while I was busy editing the movie, and we were editing, we were finishing, and it goes out to MGM again, picked up the movie, Ninja 3, The Domination. But now, forget it. Breaking was a huge success. Forget about Ninja or anything. When Breaking came out, when the movie Breaking came out, the first Breaking movie, it was such a success. It was mega money. You know, also MGM distributed.
Was behind that. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it was a big success. So they wanted sequel immediately, not like yesterday.
Okay.
They wanted sequel. For some reason, like I was chosen to do the sequel of Enter the Ninja. For some reason, the original director was not part of making the sequel of Ninja, Breaking, of the sequel of Breaking, and they turned to me. I knew Lucinda already. You know, I made for them already 2 successful action movies. So they turned to me and said, "Would you direct? Can you direct a musical, a dance movie?" I said, "What? For me, first of all, it's great. I love musicals. I love music." And to change gear, to do something different. Though the fact is that the way I approached it, it's not really different from martial art. Because you mentioned Shokasugi earlier. I would tell you, when I was on the set and Shokasugi would do his stuff, and I would sit in my director chair and just watch Shokasugi, for me, it was like a dance. For me, it was like a ballet. You know, his movements are so graceful. His movements were so beautiful. I enjoyed. I used to sit on the chair and just watch him do his stuff. You know? It was beautiful. The way he ends every move, the way he moves his hand, his legs, his body moves. It was just like a ballet, like a dancer.
Right.
And so I don't see a big difference between doing a martial art movie and a dance movie. And so I was entrusted. They entrusted it in me to do the. Again, not my idea, I was hired, and I was very happy to do it. This was even much bigger budget than the Ninja movies.
Wow.
It was much bigger movie because, based on the success of the first
one. Now, Sam, be honest with my viewers, Sam. You were a former break dancer? Is that why they trusted you, or no?
I was as much a breakdancer as I was a martial artist. Are you kidding? I didn't know anything. I know, at the time it was the beginning. The hip hop culture was just forming. There was no rapping yet. I met Ice-T on the set I heard Ice-T. It was the first time I heard rapping in my life. And most of the people, everything was new, everything, the whole breakdance or the whole hip hop. I mean, if you were a kid from the street and into dance, into the world of dance, you knew about it. But most of the people didn't know yet
what it was.
The movie Breakin', the first one, was the one that really introduced
the barrier,
to the crowd.
So
by then I already knew about it. But just like Shokasugi took me into the world of martial art, Shabadoo took me into the world of breakdancing.
Wow. And those guys were already, they had their own following because obviously they were actually, real break dancers, and the success of the first movie. So you guys were really, catapulted to, you basically had the energy to go forward with the second movie, right? It was hot. It was hot. It needed to be done.
Everything. It was hot. It was not even 1 year didn't pass by. It was less than a year when we were doing it. And those breakdancers, Shabadoo, Boogaloo Shrimp, and there were others. Right. When we were shooting on the street, tens, sometimes 100 people, young people would just come to see them. They were like big stars. stars, you know.
Wow.
They were
That's
they were
awesome.
like within this world, and especially after the first movie was such a big success. You're
Right.
talking about millions. The first movie was already viewed or seen by tens of millions of young kids. So they would
Wow.
come. The streets were always packed with the audience, with kids coming to see Shabadoo and Shrimp and the crew and the dancers, and they were big stars by then,
Wow.
comparatively, you know.
Yeah. So now switching gears, you get back into the ninja craze. And what I'm interested to fill us in is obviously they bring back the extraordinary ninja director, Sam, yourself, but Canon now goes in a different direction away from Sho Kosugi and now Michael Dudikoff. How did that come about?
So by the time, you know, I don't know much about, I'm not that involved in the relationship that Sho Kosugi had with the company, with Menachem Golan and the company. It's none of my business. They had their own relationship, independent of me. And I was busy with Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo, and other. By that time, Sho Kosugi already left the company, and he started to produce other movies, Nine Lives of a Ninja, you know, other movies outside canon. He started to make his own movies outside canon. And, you know, Breaking came out, was a big success, Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo. And then again, Menachem Golan calls me, and Menachem Golan said, I have a new idea. We need to do another ninja movie because, you know, we already made 3 of them and they were successful. We need a 6th, but I have a new idea. And the new idea is, let's make an American ninja.
Mm.
Now, this sounds crazy at the moment. It sounds totally crazy,
Right.
because the whole idea is ninjas is Japanese, Japan ninja. They goes together. It's not even a Chinese thing. It's a Japanese thing. Ninjas it's like a shogun. You know, they go the same thing. They go together like a samurai. It's a Japanese idea. It's a Japanese culture. And then suddenly, whoever thought about this concept, let's make American ninja. Wow. Right. And this was Menachem Golan. He was very creative in marketing, and he had the ability to seize on a trend. He understood trends and going with. So I said, fantastic, great idea. There was no script, nothing, only one phrase, American Ninja. Nothing.
Wow.
So I got together. They put me together with the producers, with 2 producers, Gideon Amir and Avi, and a writer. From scratch, there was nothing. There was no idea, just one idea, American Ninja. Right. And there was one more thing. They wanted to do it in the Philippines. They had some money in the Philippines. So those were the only instruction we got. Go and make American movie about American
in the
Ninja
Philippines.
In the Philippines.
Wow.
Yeah. So we started to develop an idea. Now, I wanted one thing that I really believe, I believe strongly, and you can see it in Revenge of the Ninja and Ninja 3 Domination. I believe that the world, this cinema enthusiasts around the world, they really like to see America on the screen. It's changing nowadays a little bit. The world becomes more, you know, like a global, universal global. But at the time, definitely, that's what people want to see in the world. They want to see American background for the action movies. So that's Revenge of the Ninja was Salt Lake City, Ninja 3 Domination in Phoenix, Arizona. And here they want to send us to the Philippines. And I was kind of thinking, what do we do to still make it look American movie? So we don't have suddenly a movie in the Philippines that people don't really care, or less the worldwide audience of cinema. So here came the idea, whoa, let's make him a soldier. At the time, there were big military bases, American military bases in the Philippines. Not anymore, but at the time, there were a lot of American soldiers and bases in the Philippines. So it was natural. Okay, we'll make him a soldier. The whole story will take you in a base, so it will look like America. It will have the American feel to it. So you don't have to deal with it. So he became a soldier. So when we developing the character, he became a soldier. And the other one we had in mind, the writer, myself, and the producer, we wanted him to be like a reluctant hero, like a hero who does not look for trouble, but the trouble are looking for him. He's being lured into the trouble. And if you want, like the movie High Noon, High Noon, the hero doesn't want to get involved in it's a Western, it's a classic
Right.
Western. High Noon, he doesn't want to get involved in the
He's reluctant,
trouble,
yeah.
but he's being pulled in because of his character, because of
Right.
his moral values. So we wanted the same kind of a hero. And so that's how the story got evolved. We have this loner soldier in the base. He's a driver. Now, once it was formulated, we need this character. We need to find
Right.
this guy. We need to find the actor, young actor, who will fit into this, who can fulfill this character that we had in mind.
Right.
We decided to have what is called in Hollywood open call.
Okay.
Anyone can apply
Come.
for this
Okay.
job. Anyone can come.
Right.
Actor, non-actor, martial art. So we kind of advertised it among the agencies, the actor agencies, and among the martial art dojos in Los Angeles area, in the
Wow.
general area, that we
Okay.
are looking for an actor, we are looking for a young martial artist, capable guy for this movie, which is called American Ninja. And there were a date. We had 2 days. I guess we had like 300, 400 young people came,
Okay.
young guys came in, and we had a kind of a process. Now, at this point, we took with us, I took with me the same stunt coordinator, Steve Lambert, who worked with me in Japan, and he is a martial artist, as I mentioned, and we got Mike Stone back into the picture.
Okay.
To be with us, to help us to make American Ninja. And what we did, kind of the audition was 2 stages. First stage, they met with the candidate, not me.
Okay.
I mean, Steve Lambert and Mike Stone, to see if they are capable of movement. If they're not, it's the same thing like we found Lucinda Dickey. All the actresses who were not capable of movement, and Lucinda was a dancer. And we figured out we need either a martial artist or a dancer.
Okay.
And she was a dancer, and we knew that she will pick up the moves. They tested her, and she was good. So same thing we did here. So whoever passed the first stage came to more for reading our impression. So we had a lot of young actors, martial artists who came in and introduced, etc. And some of them we liked very much. Some of them we dismissed because they didn't fit into the character that we were looking for. And I would describe it like a James Deanish character.
Okay.
And there is the first call usually where most of the people fall, and then there is the second call, the core group, let's say the 10 or the 20 people that we really like. Then we bring a video camera, we film them to see how they look in the screen. And Michael Dudikoff was one of them. Michael Dudikoff was very athletic, and he already made a movie. He already was in a television show by then, had a small part in Bachelor Party, and by then he already made a movie, Radioactive, as a hero, as the lead.
Okay.
Radioactive Dream, Albert Payun directed. And the movie didn't come out yet, but I saw the movie. They let me see the movie.
So he had some experience.
More experience in the acting.
Now,
side.
Michael, at that time, he wasn't a martial artist, correct? Or he was?
Not martial artist that goes into a dojo every week or twice a week.
Okay.
No. But he was athletic, very athletic. Maybe he flirted with martial art when he was a kid. He was already not young kid. He was like 28, whatever. So he had a slight background, but very, very athletic. Whenever when he worked with the Steve and Mike Stone, wherever they showed him and taught him, he picked up immediately, and he executed beautifully. So he had all this athletic background, and out of everybody, we liked him the best for this part. I really liked him the best. I must say that it sounds almost a cliche, but when he walked in and he started to talk with me, I knew that this guy is the American Ninja, the way we envisioned American Ninja
Now, Sam, isn't there a story on the internet that the American Ninja original concept was supposed to be for another actor that was with Canon, or no?
No. Here's what I think. I was not involved. Canon had a exclusive contract with Chuck Norris.
Right.
Chuck Norris was making movies only for Canon.
Okay.
And he was already making the
Invasion
USA.
Oh, okay, Invasion USA, right.
Yeah. So when they had the idea, they approached. I learned later. I didn't know it at the time. They approached immediately. Chuck Norris. They said, "Wow, we have an idea, American Ninja, and you will be the American Ninja." And they even put out advertising. There is an advertising
with him on it.
running with Chuck Norris. Well, I don't know. Maybe before they asked him, I don't know how it worked. But apparently he rejected. He didn't want to.
Okay.
He didn't want to be a ninja. Maybe for reasons of his martial art, that he was famous for a certain martial art, or he didn't want to cover his face because, after all, this is Chuck Norris. Why would he?
Right. So Michael Dudikoff becomes your guy. He's the guy.
Yeah. So I didn't know about it. They never told me. I was So eventually the company hired him, and he became the American Ninja. And we all of us went to the Philippines to make the movie.
Wow.
And he had some period of training prior to the filming with Mike Stone.
Okay. So Mike was the martial arts technical advisor, and then the stunt was Steve Lambert?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
So we had more people on the set. We had Mike Stone and Richard Norton.
Right. Richard's going to be on in December.
Oh, fantastic. So on the set, we had Mike Stone, Richard Norton, Steve Lambert. Steve Lambert had an assistant, Kenny. So those were the 4 study people. And usually what they do from a martial art point of view, and the same thing we did in Salt Lake City and in Phoenix, I didn't mention it. Usually they go immediately into all the martial arts schools and dojos, and they start to audition people, because we need a lot of martial artists.
Right.
For doubling, for other reasons, especially in American Ninja, there is a big scene with like 200 martial artists.
Yeah.
So they found in Manila, in the Philippines, they went into all the dojos, all the schools, and they recruited people.
Now, what about the famous Black Star Ninja, Tadashi?
So I believe, if I remember correctly, it's 35 years. We didn't audition. I believe that Mike Stone brought in Tadashi. They all know each other.
Right. Martial arts world's close. Yeah.
And Tadashi was in many movies. Tadashi Yamashita was in many movies before, and so they all know each other. So if the way I remember, Mike Stone brought in Tadashi Yamashita into the movie to be the bad ninja.
Great, iconic.
He's not the main villain of the story, but he's the bad ninja versus the good.
Right.
Ninja.
Right.
We need for the final fight. You need the good guy and the bad guy.
Yeah. Wow. So finished the production. Like I said, the ninja craze is hot. Great success with American Ninja, correct?
Yeah. So when we were there and we were filming, we were in Manila and we were filming, we were far away from the company. The company is in Hollywood, we were in Manila. And usually at the time there was no video, we use film, we send the film to a lab, then it comes back, print that we see what we call daily or rushes. Every day we see the rushes, or every day, but in a 2 days delay, because by the time it goes to the lab. Right. I started to see the way it looked by the way, also Steve James was a martial artist. Steve James, which is the buddy, is the secondary hero. He is also martial artist, came from New York.
Now, was Steve under contract with Canon? Because he did a lot of Canon films.
Not at that point, no.
Okay.
Not at that point, later. Michael Dudikoff, Steve James, later, they became in contract. But this was the beginning. This was nothing. So Steve James came in, and we liked him very much, and he was a martial artist. Different style he had a different style from Mike Stone and Steve Lambert, but anyway, it worked for all of us. And when we started to see the rushes, this interaction between Steve James and Michael Dudikoff on the screen, the presence of Michael Stone, we started to feel that there is something special here. I must admit, many times you don't see it until the movie is finished, which way it goes. But here we kind of had the feeling, there was a feeling, and in the company in Los Angeles, they also got this feeling.
Some chemistry between them.
Chemistry between them and the presence on the screen, the charisma.
Right.
So we came back home, and we had, they asked us to finish to finish the post production, the editing and the music and everything pretty fast, pretty
Okay.
fast. And because they wanted it, there were some dates, theatrical. Again, it was MGM, and MGM distributed, and they had some opening in theaters. I don't remember, so we cut it very quickly. We edited very quickly, and when it came out, and now the thing I'll tell you, I was not even privileged. All of us were not privileged to really enjoy the premiere or anything, because the minute we finished the movie, the editing, they send us already to New Orleans with the same team to make the movie Avenging Force. Michael Dudikoff, Steve James, myself.
Wow.
To New Orleans. So when the movie came out in theaters in the big cities, New York, Los Angeles, we were already working,
filming on Avenging Force.
So we didn't know what's happening. The news was delayed. We didn't, but apparently it was an explosion in the theaters, in the video shop, in the rental, immediately, and selling all over the world. It became, a mania, a craze. So this was a huge success, much bigger than Revenge of the Ninja.
Wow.
Ninja
so at this point,
by the way,
all
Ninja 3 The Domination was not a big success.
Okay. Now, so at this time, then, American Ninja was the most successful production out of all those ninja movies.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And we were already in New Orleans shooting a movie which is not really a martial art movie, not a ninja movie, Avenging Force. Another movie that Chuck Norris didn't want to do, so it fell on.
Right, because it was the same character from Invasion USA. Right.
Hunter, yeah.
Wow. You know what? And I thought, listen, I got to be honest with you. As a kid, I liked that movie too. I thought it was good. And they left it open end at the end of the movie, and I thought that they were going to have a second part to it. It's a shame. I thought it was a good concept.
Well, it was a good movie. It's an excellent movie. Really excellent. So, and then the movie comes out and a big success. So we don't even finish now they really want a sequel, because
wow. So you got to go right back into the lab.
We
right
hardly
away.
Finished this, the editing. We hardly finished the editing of Avenging Force. And while I was on Avenging Force, I was already working on a script for American Ninja #2. Wow. And the day we finished the editing, I was on the airplane on my way to South Africa to do American Ninja #2. Wow. So they came in successive, one after that, in succession, one after the other, boom, boom, boom.
Wow. Yeah, but and then finally in American Ninja
today, 2. Just mentioning, until today, American Ninja, the first American Ninja, is the most successful of all ninja movies, except Ninja Turtles.
Right. Now, Mike Stone gets the nod to actually be the bad guy in Ninja 2.
When I started American Ninja, I wanted him to be the Black Star Ninja. Right? He didn't want, and he brought in Tadashi Yamashita. Right. I really was trying to convince him. I said, Mike, why don't you? I want you to be the villain on the screen. He didn't want. Next time, we were already much more friendly. I knew him better. I said, no. I said, Mike, this time you are going to be the bad ninja.
Right.
I don't. That you have to. And then I said, okay, I agreed. But in the first movie, he did not. He rejected the idea. But in the second, he agreed to become the villain ninja, the bad ninja.
And now the American Ninja franchise is born. It's hot, and they almost had, I think it was 5 sequels, right? I
think they made 5. Yeah, you're right.
Unbelievable.
But and then we were not involved anymore. It was done in South Africa by a sub company, by a hired company. Canon Film hired a local company in South Africa to continue and make the #3, #4, and #5.
Oh wow, I didn't know
that. Us, all South African crew. Everybody was South African except David Bradley and Shokasu and Michael, Steve James, and David Bradley.
Oh wow. Okay. So then, as the career went on, still did action movies. I'm seeing Delta Force 3, American Samurai. Then you started diving into the Cyborg Cop 2. And then talk to me about the early 2000s. You then go into a little bit different genre of movies, correct? No more ninja movies, right?
Yeah, I think that this whole idea subsided from a marketing point of view. No, nothing to do with the from a marketing. There are trends. Sometimes horror pictures are very high, and everybody wants a horror picture, and then it goes down. Then there was a period of Vietnam. Everyone wanted a Vietnam movie. Then this. So I don't know. I think the ninja idea was not that hot or sellable or marketable anymore, or much less. But this company that hired me, they really wanted a ninja movie, and we came up with the twist American Samurai with David Bradley and Mark Dacascos.
Right.
So it's the same idea, but instead of having a ninja,
Samurai.
we had a
Right.
different type of martial art. It was, from a martial art point of view, it was interesting, American Samurai. And then I was introduced to David Bradley, which already made for Canon American Ninja.
Right.
And now there was a new company. The same company that was in South Africa, they came over to Hollywood. They were called New Image. And they wanted to start to produce movies. They knew me. We knew each other because I was there making American Ninja #2. And they turned to me and said, we want to make a movie with the same vein of ideas and, ninja, martial art. But at that point, cyborg was the big thing, like cyborgs. And at that moment of cinema, of history of cinema, of selling movies.
Cyborg was it.
Cyborg, after Van Damme made the Cyborg movie, RoboCop, there was the RoboCop, and this was the idea. So they wanted this type of movies. And can I bring in, they didn't know David Bradley, this new company, New Image. Can I introduce them to David Bradley, which I did, because I just finished with the this movie, American Samurai. And the concept was very interesting, sci-fi action, sci-fi mixed with action. And David could display his martial art abilities, and he agreed, and he liked the idea. And we did two Cyber Cop movies, Cyber Cop and Cyber Cop 2, or Cyber Cop and Cyber Soldier, both of them in South Africa. We shot them in South Africa with David Bradley, and David had a chance. And again, action, the same formula, 45 minutes of action, kind of exotic story. We did not set it in South Africa. My old rule prevailed. So one movie was like kind of in the Caribbean island, and the other one was actually set up in Los Angeles. But we shot it over there in South Africa, but we made it look like America. America. It's easy in South Africa.
Wow.
Mixture of the population is kind of
right.
Of population that here.
So really in the 80s, I mean, Michael Dudikoff, David Bradley, Sho Kasagi. I mean, you really worked with a who's who of that genre.
Frank Zagarino, Brian
Lucinda, all these different people. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, you've had an amazing career, sir. Amazing.
Right, yeah. And again, I'm mentioning I was lucky because my life kind of intersected with martial art. And I'm not talking about the physical part of it. I never got into it. I never got into it. But the mental part of the philosophical part, the mental part of martial art influenced me a lot.
Wow.
I was introduced to those kind of people that they have a different way of seeing how life conducts itself, how you should behave. Shokasugi, Tadashi Yamashita, Kit Vitali, Mike Stone,
unbelievable.
Richard Norton, so many of them, Steve Lambert, and they have a different way of discipline of life, which rubbed on me anyway, even if I want to, I don't want. And I was already, I told you, I was already very enthusiastic of samurai movies, which is the same, they have the same kind of disciplines and ideas and moral values. And I was lucky, beside making the movie, also to meet those people, to meet this world of martial art and the values, the beyond the physical action of martial art.
Wow. Now, Sam, you're enjoying retirement? Any movies coming down the pike, or what are you doing?
No, I am busy on maintaining the legacy. I'm in the world of nostalgia. Listen, something very strange happened. I wouldn't say strange. I don't know how to describe it. When we made those movies, all of the movies that I directed 25 movies.
Wow.
All of them were low budget, independent movies for small companies. I never worked for a major company. It never happened to me. So I was never involved in Superman, nor Spider-Man, neither Tom Cruise. I didn't make those movies. Stallone. So in our mind at the time, we are making small movies. Those movies will show around for 5 years and then they will disappear. The truth is that in cinema, just like in books, in literature, most of the movies are disappearing. We don't remember them. So I would say 70% of movies produced in the world, they disappear. People forget them after a while. Once in a while, there is a good movie or memorable movie, Rocky. Okay?
Right.
Nobody will forget Rocky. It was a low budget, small movies, entered classic. Casablanca, we go way back. Gone with the Wind. I don't know. I shoot names. Spielberg movies, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Of course, okay. But most of the movies in the world are disappearing. And we believe the same thing. We are making those little, small, low-budget action movies, kind of, and they will disappear. Now we are 35 years later from Revenge of the Ninja, American Ninja, and those movies are still alive. Now, admittedly, most of the 25 movies that I directed are part of those movies which are disappearing back into the history. But some of them are unbelievably resilient. They are persistent. They are here. Revenge of the Ninja, surprisingly, Ninja 3: The Domination, that became a major cult movie. Of course, American Ninja 2, and Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo. Those are the main. Also, David Bradley, the two cyborg movies.
Right.
And so it gets me busy, involved in them. I'm invited to screenings, to festivals all over the world. I was just in Europe before the pandemic. I was in Europe, like in 3 or 4 successive festivals in Poland, in Slovenia, and they're screening the movies. Every festival, if they invite me as a guest, and I'm in the nostalgic corner of the festival, because film festivals are about new movies, not about old movies, but they always have this nostalgic corner, and they show 2 or 3 screenings. Usually, always American Ninja is mandatory, kind of, and then Q&A. People, say after the screening, I introduce the movie, I get some plaque or something. Yeah. And the social media is going crazy. It's unbelievable. Not long ago, I posted a movie, The Making of American Ninja, a short movie. I didn't make it. A good film, documentary. People, it's a 24-minute movie, reunion of some of the people that made American Ninja. The viewership, it's in YouTube, the viewership is already over 120,000.
Wow.
I mean that there is enthusiastic audience. Interested in this
absolutely.
in this subject. And a book came out. You spoke about the book.
Right.
And Stories from the Trenches, which is a writer. I did not write the book. A writer wrote the book, and it's dealing with the movies that I directed, and it shows this area of low-budget action movies, independent B-movies, independent movie, low-budget movies of the 80s and the beginning of the 90s, because it was a section. And that keeps me pretty busy. I'm not I have many fields of interest in life, and one of the most enjoyable for me, I build furnitures.
Wow.
My biggest hobby. I build furnitures.
Wow.
Occupy a lot.
Well, Sam,
maintaining the legacy also
occupies
me a lot.
Yeah.
The book, the writing, the stories, the interview, like you, I'm interviewed lately so much in so many web
Yeah.
web and podcasts.
Listen, social media, it's unbelievable, and just the access that everybody has. Again, Sam, thank you so much for taking the time today. This is nostalgic for me and for the viewers. You're part of the martial arts history, and you're the historian. You're part of that legacy that fueled the ninja craze and everything. And
I was lucky. I was lucky.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great, it's a great story, and great to hear about everyone that you worked with, and like I said, moving on, like you had mentioned earlier in our show, we're blessed. Next week we're gonna have Mike Stone, then later in December we're gonna have Richard Norton. These are all guys that were involved with the series as well, with those movies. So we're excited. We're excited, and you're enjoying yourself.
Or any one of the viewers who has want to explore a little bit more, there is a website, my website, samfirstenberg.com, and a Facebook page. And there is a Facebook page for the book, the Sam Firstenberg book, Stories from the Trenches, the Sam Firstenberg book. And somebody is maintaining the Battlefield, the movies of Sam Firstenberg. So there is more material in the internet, social media, to delve more into it. And if any one of you guys are interested in it.
Listen, we're definitely going to share that with the Martial Arts Xperience, with our website and YouTube and stuff as well. So I appreciate your time today. I will tell you, Sam, we're definitely going to connect again, and hopefully when the pandemic dissipates, we can get back, because we normally do some large tournaments and different events. So we'd love to have you come in, and we can definitely do a Q&A and a screening. So that'll be exciting. That'll definitely be exciting. Sam,
thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you, sir. Any last words for the viewers? Anything they could take away, that you want to leave everybody?
Yeah, it's more about movies. I always at the end, I talk with people about, there was a period, the Hollywood movie making. The movie making in Hollywood has periods, different when you look at the history. And there was a period, it was the entire 80s, 1980s, and the first part of the 1990s. And this was the height of the VHS, the home rental business. And this home rental business, that because some of you know and some of them don't know, that there was a rental shop in every corner, in every block, in every city in America. Blockbusters and independent. And this was a period that peaked, at the end of the 80s, started at the beginning of 1980s, and kind of ended in the end of the 1990s. And this business of the home rental video fueled huge amount of movies, good independent movies, not studio movies, and this money enabled it. And it's nice that we are now preserving and we are recognizing this period of time in the history of Hollywood, of the independent genre, low budget movies. And so, just to be aware that there was such a thing, and today it's part of the legacy of Hollywood. And many people like those movies because they were not made huge budget, 200 million, and with this, no special effect, no optical special effect, no people flying against green screen.
Sam, can you imagine?
Everything was done physically. Every stunt that we did in this movie was done physically.
Wow.
And it has this feeling. People like those movies because they can sense it, that everything was really done. Every stunt, every fight, every chase, every martial art choreography was really happening on the screen, and mainly with the real actor. It was not a second unit, some other actors doing it.
Sam, can you imagine American Ninja with a $200 million budget?
It will look different. It will look like Superman, Spider-Man, one of those movies.
Right. Oh my God. Sam, thank you so much for your time tonight. I really appreciate it. God bless to all the viewers. Thank you to who watched today. And obviously we'll be reposting the show in the coming days. Again, Sam, thank you. We hope you had a great holiday, and hopefully we'll connect soon again. Okay.
Everybody. Yeah.
All right. Everyone have a great night. God bless from the Martial Arts Xperience. Thank you again, Sam, for your time tonight. Thank you.